don't know if I've ever really thought about it, but probably not a whole lot.
I do see Asian Americans in advertisement, but I feel like it is kind of rare and not necessarily so common.
Ninjas.
Ninja.
An outsider and more foreign.
Potentially awkward.
I would have to say underrepresented and stereotyped.
Pretty reserved and quiet.
Mystery or, like, kind of like something like unknown.
Asians began immigrating to the United States in considerable numbers in the mid-1800s. They predominantly worked as low-class laborers. In Hawaii, many Japanese, Koreans, and Filipinos worked on plantations without proper wages and good working conditions. At the same time, Chinese immigrants began arriving to the mainland United States, where they worked in dangerous jobs such as railroading and mining. They also took jobs that were considered feminine, most notably in laundries and restaurants. Although these immigrants and their children held important jobs in society, they were hated by many. White citizens often engaged in discriminatory and even violent behavior towards Asian Americans. Furthermore, the U.S. government displayed state-sanctioned discrimination starting with the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act. Additionally, Japanese people were labeled as war enemies. They were seen as a potential threat to society and even spies for the Japanese government. During these times, extreme racism was present in advertising. However, even as Asian Americans continued to immigrate and assimilate into American culture, advertisements continued to discriminate against them.
We argue that many advertisements between 1955 and 2000 portray Asian Americans as perpetual foreigners. These ads served as reinforcement for an already present ideology that Asians cannot assimilate into American culture to the extent that other races can. In order to evaluate this, we collected television commercials from the second half of the 20th century, a time when many Asian Americans had lived in the United States for several generations, but still face media discrimination from ads such as the ones we will present.
How do you get shirts so clean, Mr. Lee?
Ancient Chinese secret.
My husband, some hotshot. Here's his ancient Chinese secret.
Here the man attributes his success to an un-American culture, differentiating himself from the white woman. In this commercial, the Chinese-American couple are seen as unassimilated with the culture of the white woman in the laundromat.
Ancient Chinese secret, huh?
In the Orient, the most desirable feeling next to the skin is silk. Here in America, there's a pantyhose that feels just as luxurious.
In this advertisement, an Asian woman is promoting sheer elegance pantyhose by comparing it to Chinese silk. The Oriental backdrop and music delivers an Asian vibe to its viewers throughout the advertisement. Her general image also reinforces many stereotypes about Asian women, that they are China dolls, dragon ladies, and sex symbols.
The wonders of the East are now further west. In Hanes' imported rug department, we have magnificent Orientals from Persia, China, India, Pakistan, and Turkey. Each one exotic, each one authentic, each one a woven link to ancient times.
This is incredible!
As are our prices.
Throughout the entire ad, Asians are portrayed as unfamiliar, foreign, and primitive. The Media Action Network for Asian Americans states Asian people have been widely seen as unable to be absorbed into American society. This portrayal ultimately suggests that anything Asian must remain apart from American society.
According to an article from the Media Action Network for Asian Americans, because they are racially and culturally distinctive from the American mainstream, Asian people have been widely seen as unable to be absorbed into American society. According to this view, anything Asian is thus inherently alien to America.
Since ancient times, we've had a beauty secret, just recently introduced to the Western world. Our secret is called pearl cream.
Fighting tartar with regular toothpaste is like trying to dig a hole to China with a teaspoon.
By pairing Asian stereotypes such as wisdom and dialogues such as fighting tartar with regular toothpaste is like trying to dig a hole to China with a teaspoon, Colgate advertisers linked Morita's Asian descent directly to foreign cultures and therefore perpetuated stereotypes.
Colgate Tartar Control, the wise choice.
Was Pat Morita necessarily right in doing the spot? No, probably not. But one of the things that you find is that Phil Gotanda, who's a prolific writer in the Asian American marketplace, wrote a play called Yankee Dog, You Die. And in the play, one of the things he talks about is that for Asian American actors, at a certain point, that's all there was. There's an old animated spot for Jell-O where there's, a Chinese baby talking about eating glape Jell-O and, eating with chopsticks and things like that. Blatantly racist, blatantly off target, and just plain, culturally false. Could they get away with that back in the 60s? Yeah, they could, because there was nobody complaining about it.
Chinese mother, bling baby, great Western invention. Spoon. Spoon was invented for eating Jell-O. Baby fine, this is grape Jell-O. Deep, dark, delicious new flavor. Chinese baby, very happy.
There's a famous Timex spot where two non-Asian, actually, sumo wrestlers try to torture test the Timex watch. Timex's company history is used in their communications. Awful spot, but it still existed.
Timex, it takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
Kim Min-jung and Angie Chung writes, multiculturalism is one of the clever marketing strategies that corporations have recently used to market their products. Multiculturalism evokes artificial images of racial unity and harmony among the various cultural groups of America and celebrates the general openness of colorblind Americans to rich cultural traditions of different racial groups. Stuart Hall says the media constructs a definition of what race is for viewers, what meaning the imagery of race carries, and how the problem of race should be understood. The media classifies out the world in terms of categories of race, setting people apart based upon their appearance and preconceived notions that have been socially constructed over time.
Here again we see another Asian guy making martial arts moves and beating up bad guys. It is very similar to the Mountain Dew commercial from before, and the only message it seems to get across is another Asian person that is not assimilated to the American society. Throughout the commercial, the protagonist moves through a Chinese restaurant and then a Chinese laundry, the stereotypical Chinese business in the United States.
People will deny the fact that they are influenced by communications, especially advertising, but the influence is there, and it's been researched to death in that advertising definitely does influence people. For people who are not Asian American, it reinforces very specific ways of thinking about Asian American people. If you go to the average town in Montana, you're not going to see a lot of Asian American folks. So the information they get about Asian Americans and the belief systems that they create for themselves about Asian Americans are really dependent upon what they see on the screen.
No one can save you now.
Hey, bet we could.
Fools, we will defeat you and take your Miller Lite. Not if we choose the weapon. Paper football, very clever. You kick off.
It's good. We are safe.
This commercial not only provides a foreign aura to Americans, but also instills the idea that Asians are still behind even in this day and age.
Edward Said writes, the discourse of Orientalism should be viewed as an archive of information nearly universally held by Europeans. Underlying this archive was a set of ideas and values that helped maintain a more or less coherent notion of European superiority.
Don't make me angry, because angry is my middle name, okay? Otherwise...
In this Doritos commercial, we see Bruce Lee in broken English talking about the product. Here is yet another Asian guy with broken English who doesn't seem to be a true American. We have seen how the Asian American stereotype has been used in advertisements and how they are evolving. First, from blatantly racist advertisements mimicking the Asian American accent, to a more mystified view of Asian Americans as part of the Orient, followed by a somewhat related view of Asians as martial arts masters, and finally, in recent years, this has been succeeded by a view of Asian Americans as tech-savvy, successful individuals, fitting snugly into the model minority mold. We do see that these portrayals are getting better as we see less and less commercials depicting Asian Americans as taking a specific role or just being there because he or she is Asian. With the advent of the social networking systems and blogs like 8asians.com, and along with individuals like Bob Kumaki and others from the Asian American Institute, we have seen a genuine grassroots effort to monitor and advance the image of Asian Americans amongst the public. We also see the need for Asian Americans to come to terms with their past and re-emerge as a coherent entity.